So it's time. I'm going to be very brief. It's quite interesting how these things happen. But now is our little section to simply share about something that's very, very dear to my heart, and that is inviting our young people. How wise are they, though, to help us remember to be kind to ourselves. And my journey with this started when I was young enough to be aware that I was a person as opposed to, an individual and unique, and that comparison mind started to happen. So I thought I'd share a little bit of backstory as to how my new children's book was created. It's very simple, really. I had a very loud, critical voice. Some would say that perhaps I learned quite a lot of that voice, but also, I don't know. It was, inherent as part of my perfectionism, wanting to get things right, wanting to please, wanting to fit in, all those things that we as humans really want. And my desire with this book is to help any young person. I was around 7 when I really remember judging myself, that I didn't have what others had in some ways. I didn't look as pretty, and I wasn't necessarily as clever, and the judging started. And I've talked long and hard with Liz and with many of the kind-minders about how different would my life have been had I had some skills, some tools, a little toolkit to remind me that, or to even talk about kindness and kindness to self, that it was okay, as lovely Dimitri said, to make mistakes, and it didn't mean that I was bad or wrong. And so my journey, just going to close the chat because I'm a bit distracted by it. My journey was to continue on the path of trying to find out who I am and how I can be better and better and better. And I kept trying to be better and trying to make a difference. And that was my, my drive. And as many of you know, I started bringing mindfulness, meditation, some positive psychology, some heart-centered work into schools. Even though I'd been a teacher for a long time, it was very difficult to balance my desire to support the young people I was working with, and support myself. You may or may not know, but within the first year of teaching, I really had successfully burnt myself out. I ended up in hospital, had major surgery, and I really had done my body quite a lot of damage. I was very happy in my heart. And this is the interesting thing, when Namala, the president of the World Kindness Movement, said right at the beginning of tonight, how we need to fill our own cup. We need to charge our own phone, make sure our batteries are charged. Well, take the oxygen first is a chapter in my book. She was right. Every teacher matters. I wrote this book because I wanted to support and help as many teachers as possible take good care of themselves whilst they are taking care of our young people. And as we've said right throughout tonight, when we fill our own cup, when we take care of ourselves, then we are more likely to be able to respond healthily, be kind to others, not be so reactive. And there's lots of research on this as well, that teachers can become punitive if their levels are really, really high with stress, and they're burnout, or they're just on the edge of burnout. And if any of you are parents, you'll know that, if you haven't had enough sleep, if you're just overworked, and we're juggling so many things, that of course our fuse is a little bit shorter. Now, the interesting thing about my journey is, on the outside, there's been lots of success. I'm very blessed to have had a great career. I've had some amazing, I've received some awards in the community. I wrote this book that became a bestseller because it had a great review or two. But the key to sharing this part of my story was that even though outwardly the success was happening, there was still a voice in my head that said, so what? So what? I think it got to number 68 in the Amazon top 100. And I still didn't really understand what that meant until my publisher rang me, hysterical, saying, have you seen the charts? Have you seen the charts? I said, oh, 68 doesn't sound very good. She said, it's out of over 6 million books, Kathryn. I was like, oh, well. So I had a moment of joy and that's, well, that's very good. But I was still left with this, so what? And the pain of that, so what? Because I felt I hadn't made the difference I'd wanted to. My standards were so high that I couldn't possibly meet my expectations. And that critical voice continued to have a field day with me. And this was all up until I learned mindful self-compassion. And over the next 5 years, I began to understand I could apply the compassion, the empathy, the love, the kindness I have for others. And as Chris Germer says, I could do the U-turn. I could bring it in for myself. And I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that that was okay to do that. And so after a few years of practicing, this little book was born, the little book of self-compassion. And this really is some of the teachings that I've learned, some wonderful teachers around the world talking about compassion. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. That's the lovely Dalai Lama. And so this book really was the first step in my deep, deep desire to make a difference in a way that I had suffered. I had struggled so much with this critical voice. And the biggest reflection I had more and more was how different would my life have been had I understood this, had I had the skills to practice this when I was 7, when I was little, when I struggled at school, when mean things were said in the playground, when I didn't get an A star. Actually, I'm so old. They didn't have stars in those days. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of backstory around how this new book was created. Liz and I went to Australia and did some training over there with teachers in the city of Maroondah, where they are literally cultivating a city of well-being. And with all the years of work we've done in schools, I said to the organizer, Edwina Rickey is a visionary and we love her very much. She's been doing this work for many years, bringing all areas of the communities together, hoping to increase everyone's well-being. And I said, Edwina, self-compassion is the missing link. Self-compassion is the missing link. So we went out and we shared our message with literally thousands of teachers. It was just over 1,000, I think, and shared opening a door, sowing a seed of self-kindness and self-compassion. And lots of these teachers were primary school teachers, just like Miss Armstrong from Edinburgh. Thank you again for those wonderful voices of kindness. And they said, well, Kathryn, have you got a book? We need to help the children, have you got something for them? So I made a promise. I said, I will write you a book. I haven't written it yet. I will. And so tonight, it is my honor to unveil the book, to read it to you. And we are hoping that it will go live for sale on the 23rd of November. But we'll tell you a little bit more about it now, a bit later on. But for now, let me introduce you to the voices in my head. Here we go. So here we go. The voices in my head. Welcome to these two wonderful voices.
Sorry, were you going to read that other page?
No, I wasn't. No. So that first page, it's in the book, and it's simply a little message to any educators, any parents, carers, just to give them a little deeper understanding that it's not just a fun story, that it is actually looking at this very profound and very important topic of self-compassion, self-kindness, how we can tend to our critical voice. Okay, and a big shout out to, of course, the wonderful Penny Haynes, who did these extraordinary, wonderful, beautiful illustrations. And she's done all of my illustrations. I absolutely adore her. She's very, very talented. All right, let's begin. I'm laughing and skipping, having a ball, but then I trip over, crash, and fall. Oof, I splutter, flippity flip. The crusher just mocked. You buffoon, you can't even skip. I'm playing a game. It's my turn to guess. But I can't answer. My head's a mess. Oh, I whimper, flippity ding. The crusher just smirked. You numpty, you don't know a thing. I'm colouring in my favourite rhyme, but then I smear way outside the line. Oh, I worry, flippity din. The crusher just sneered. You nitwit, you can't colour in. I'm jumping and joking, mucking about, but smash a lamp with a great big clout. Uh-oh, I gasp, flippity zee. The crusher just scorned. You numbskull, you're just so clumsy. I'm at a friend's party in my best dress, but she looks so nice. I feel much less. Oh, I whisper, flippity tee. The crusher just jeered. You ninny, you're just not pretty. The crusher was nasty. The crusher was cruel. It only said mean things. It wasn't nice at all. It made me feel useless. It made me feel small. There must be another voice to make me feel tall. I'm laughing and skipping, having a ball. But then I trip over, crash and fall. Oof, I splutter, flippity blip. The booster just smiled. Up you get, we all sometimes trip. I'm playing a game. It's my turn to guess. But I can't answer. My head's a mess. Oh, I whimper, flippity do. The booster just grinned. It's all right. We learn as we go. I'm colouring in my favourite rhyme, but then I smear way outside the line. Oh, I worry, flippity dear. The booster just beamed. Simply a smudge, nothing to fear. I'm jumping and joking, mucking about, but smash a vase with a great big clout. Uh-oh, I gasped, flippity day. The booster just cheered. Accidents happen, it's okay. I'm at a friend's party in my best dress, but she looks so nice, I feel much less. Oh, I whisper, flippity din. The booster just glowed. Your true beauty comes from within. The booster was friendly. The booster was kind. It only said wise things. It happily shined. It made me feel hopeful. It made me feel light. I'll listen to this voice. It helps me feel bright. And so, my friends, this charming and useful book tackling difficult thoughts and feelings with refreshing frankness and understanding, says so the gorgeous and amazing Stephen Fry. So there you have it, my friends, introducing the wonderful booster and the wonderful crusher. And I know somewhere in the chat there was something talking about the importance of the critical voice. And yes, we will explore that in another book. Thank you, Mohammed. So this is, I think, the reason I was born. Yeah. Ooh, made me go all emotional again. What if we could teach our children that it's okay to have both voices in our head and it's perfectly natural? What if we could help develop our booster language so that if the crusher's sitting on our shoulder, that we can remember that it's probably wanting something for us, wanting to help us, but its message is a bit clumsy and clunky. He's got his big boots on. Oh, yes, thank you. Holly, I know, I cannot wait to share this book with as many children as possible. And my belief is our children are our greatest teachers. And what if by learning the language of the booster and the crusher, that we can help our families, our friends, our work colleagues, that everyone in the family can speak this language. Oh, Daddy, did you have a bad day? Did Crusher get you today? Yes, Crusher did get me today. I didn't feel like I did a good job at work today. Oh, Daddy, come on, let's see what the booster might say. It's very, very simple. It's a very simple way to help cultivate a compassionate voice. And this is my gift of kindness to the world. So one final thing, which I'm just so excited about. And this is all down to the lovely Liz Walker. Liz, would you like to come on and talk about the other book that we've created? Because this is really for you.
Yes, this is my book. I was so excited when I read the first version of The Voices in My Head, the colour version. And sitting talking to Penny and Kathryn, I'm just like, this would be amazing as da, 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 the colouring book. I mean, look how gorgeous that bad boy is. Ooh. And so it's got the same beautiful illustrations, but devoid of colour, so that you can actually go through and colour it in. I just, including even down to bubble writing. Let me show you, because it's super cool. Look at that. So I'm so delighted. Not only have we got one book being launched tonight, but we actually have two. So the colouring version and also the print copy as well. Now, Kathryn did mention, sorry, Kathryn.
Well, there's lots of chat going on, and I would just like to say yes, 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 and yes to everyone. And the beauty of the colouring book is, one, hopefully every child on the planet will be able to have the opportunity of colouring this in. But as we colour, speaking from a therapeutic perspective, we're more likely to share our feelings and thoughts. And what if, you know, mum or dad or a carer or granny can sit, or grandpa sit, colouring in with a child that they love, and have the conversation. Oh, grandpa, what's your crusher say to you sometimes? What does he or she sound like? What does it sound like to you? And then, of course, the conversation normalizes and validates these two voices we have in our head, and all the different nuances of these voices. And that is why I mean, obviously Liz loves colouring in, so we had to do it. Penny can't have all the fun. And but we can enjoy some mindfulness, we can have some compassionate conversations, we can have compassionate listening. I mean, there's so many amazing things. Oh my goodness. So Julia's just put on the chat that her children were transfixed. That's so lovely. I wonder if we should make that third announcement. Julia, are they still there?
I think we should definitely make that third announcement.
So I would just like to introduce, I just check that they're still there, where they can watch the recording. So they certainly are. All right, Ellie Mae and Connor. Do you recognize anyone here? This book is for you. So the two characters are Julia Sweetman's gorgeous twins, and they have been on this journey with us. They didn't know. It's a big surprise. Happy World Kindness Day. This is for you. So I can just imagine the squealing now, Julia, sorry. We were hoping to be able to visit Ireland and give them a book and show them their pictures, but that's as close as we can do right now in lockdown. So you can tell everyone, Connor and Ellie Mae, that you are now in a book forever, and you can be the voices of self-kindness for the whole world. So thank you for being awesome. A big thank you to Julia. She's managed to keep that a secret for a very long time.